In this part, we're going to talk about serialization. Now, before sending the data to the client or front end, we need to do serialization on our data or models. Now, if you see the documentation of Django REST Framework, serializers allow complex data such as query sets and model instances to be converted to native Python data types that can then be easily rendered into JSON or XML. Now, if you see, so this was the API guide. Now, if you see the serialization in here, we have already installed our Django REST framework, and also we have our now after installation, what you need to do is to add the REST framework in your installed app. So we need to just copy this. So let me just copy this, and we need to open our settings.py, and in the installed apps you can see that we have our API. Also we can add our REST framework, so like this. Okay, so after installation and after adding our REST framework to the installed apps, if you come down, we need to create a model. So we have already created our model, and you can see in here we have a simple model, a class article model, that we have a title and also description as a field. Now we want to create serializer for this article model. So after that, now we need to, after creating of the model, we need to create our serializer class. Now you can see that the first thing we need to get started on our web API is to provide a way of serializing and deserializing the model instances into representations such as JSON. So we can do this by declaring serializers that work very similar to Django forms. Now if you're familiar with the Django forms, so we have form and also we have model form. Now the serializer is the same concept. So you can see that they have an example in here. So they have the model that is a snippet model, and they have a serializer class that is a snippet serializer. Now you can see that in here we have serializers.serializer. Now there are different types of serializers that you can use. We have serializer, we have model serializer, we have hyperlink serializer, and we will learn about the serializer. So first we will talk about the serializer. Now when you're using the serializer, so you need to add your fields, all fields from the models in here. So now if you see the API guide in here, so let me just come down, so you can see that the serializers in REST framework work very similar to Django form and model form. So we provide serializer class, which gives you a powerful generic way to control the output of your responses. Now, as well as a model serializer class, which provides a useful shortcut for creating serializers that deal with model instances and query sets. Now if you're familiar with the Django, we have form and we have model form. Now when you're going to create your form, you need to specify all the fields that you have in your model. Now if you're using model form, you can just specify the fields. You don't need to add, for example, the type of the field in here. Now it has the same concept. We have serializer and we have model serializer. So right now we're going to talk about the serializer. Now if you see in here, now you can see that it's a snippet serializer, and right now we're using serializer. And if you see the model in here, so we have these fields for the snippet model, and in here you can see in the snippet serializer we are specifying all the fields in here like this. And also these are the methods, so create method and also update method in here. So if you come down and if you see, we have model serializer, and you can see that in here we don't need to specify all the field types in here. So we can just say fields, and we can add ID, title, and these information in here. Now let's first just use the serializer, and we will learn that from scratch that how we can use this. So Now what I want to do is to create a new file, Python file in my API app, and I'm going to call it serializers. So serializers. Now in here what I want to do is to first we need to import our serializer from the REST framework. So we can just say from REST framework import serializers. Also we need to import our model because we want to serialize this article model. So we can just say from .models import article. Now we need to create our class article serializer. So I'm going to just call it article serializer. And in here you need to specify the type of the serializer that you want to use. So we are going to use serializer. So you can see we have also model serializer, but we are going to use serializer. Now as I have already said that when you're using serializer you need to specify the model type that you have. So we have title and description. Let me just copy this and paste it in here. So now instead of models we need to use serializers. So serializers and also serializers. Now for the text field we don't have anything in the serializer class, so we need to change this to character field like this. So you can add a max length if you want. You can just for example add a max length of 400 or whatever you want. So this is our serializer class. Now we need to create our some methods. So we want to create and return a new article instance given the validated data. So in here we need to just use create. So for creating of the article, and you can see it's using validated data, and in here we can just return article dot objects dot create. So because we want to create the article and we are going to use the validated data. And also you can use update. So using the update method we can update and return an existing article instance given the validated data. So we can just say diff update. So diff update, and in here we can add our so let me just copy this, or we can just say instance dot title, we have validated data dot get, and we can add title and also instance dot title. So we are going to just copy this, and we want to do the same for the description. So this should be description, description, and also description. So sorry, instance dot description. So now we have created our serializer class. So it's instance dot description. So dot, and we can just add description in here. Okay, now we've created our serializers.py file. Now we want to do some operations and we want to serialize our data. Okay, now I'm going to open my terminal, so let me just or we can just say make this window because I want it should be bigger. So now the first thing is that we need to import. So from API.models we are going to import our article model. So article from sorry, we need to change our directory, so let me just clear buffer. So cd API project, and now we can say from API.models we are going to import article from is sorry, we need to just open our Django shell. So I'm doing this in the PyCharm and terminal. So we need to just say python manage.py shell, and now we can do our works in the shell. So we can just say from API.models we want to import article, and after that from api.serializer, we are going to import our article serializer. So article serializer. So now from this serializers file, we want to import article serializer class. Now let me just hit enter. Oh no, module api.serializer. I'm receiving this error. Oh, it's serializers, so I have made a mistake again. So it's serializers, and we can just say we can give it. Okay, now we have imported our article model and also article serializer. Also we need to import, so from REST framework, so from REST framework dot renderers, we want to import JSON renderer. So JSON renderer. So from REST framework dot renderers, we are going to import JSON renderer. And also we need to import parser. So from REST framework dot parsers, we want to import a JSON parser. So JSON parser. So from REST framework dot parsers, we want to import a JSON parsers. So now these are the imports. Now what we want to do is to create an article. So we can just say article, and we need to give a title for the article. So we can just say article title, and also we want to create a description. So this description, and we can say this is description. So this description. Okay, now after doing this, we need to save our article. So a dot save, and if I see my localhost admin, if I log in, and in the articles, so we can see the second article in here. So this is article, it's that we have created. So now this is the article title. Okay, so now we can use our article serializer to serialize our data. So we have an article serializer in here. Now what we want to do is to create a serializer. So serializer, and we can say article serializer, and after that we can add our article in here. And now if you see serializer dot data, so you can see we have title and also description. Now at this point we have translated the article model instance into Python native data types. That's we can say that that's dictionary. Now to finalize the serialization process, we render the data into JSON. So now what we want to do is to create JSON in here, and we can just say JSON parser, JSON renderer, not parser. So JSON renderer, and we can say dot render, and in here you need to add your serializer dot data. So serializer dot data. Now if we see JSON, so now you can see that it is converted to the JSON. Now also you can do deserialize your data. So deserializing is similar, it's similar to the serialization. So first we parse a stream into Python native data type. So we can just say, for example, import. So we can say import IO, and in here what we want to do is to create a stream in here. So a stream, and we can say IO dot bytes IO, and we can add our JSON in here, so our serialized data. And after that we can just create a data, and we can say JSON parser, so parser dot parse, and we want to parse our stream, so stream. After that, we restore those native data types into a dictionary of validated data. So in here we can just say serializer and article serializer. We can add data, and now we can, if we see serializer dot is valid, so we're receiving true, and now we can say serializer dot validated data. So you can see that it is converted to ordered dictionary of Python. So like this, you can work with the simple serializations. We will talk model serializer in the next video.